Okay, I gotta start this off by saying I love the title of this movie, and I love how the Fast and the Furious films keep changing their titles, but they're all so fun, like Too Fast, Too Furious, or Fast 5, or Furious 7, or The Fate of the Furious. I love how they keep adding these titles to this movie, or to this movie franchise, and it's so fun just seeing these different inner titles throughout. They just make them seem more fun with these titles. But anyways, The Fate and the Furious. Going into this, I thought, why do we need a eighth Fast and the Furious film? But I also thought these keep getting better. Like, I thought it really hit its stride with the fifth one, and then as going, it got better and better because I thought the first four were okay. But this one I thought was just as awesome as 5 through 7, and I really give this franchise credit for being something different a lot of the time, because in the first three movies they're about more like street racing, and then you've got 5, which is a heist movie, and then you've got this one, which is a spy espionage thriller kind of movie. And I really think that this franchise is great at interspersing different genres alongside having the same stuff that people enjoy. And I love how they keep changing it up, so every time you see a new one it gives more over the top, and it's more fun because of that, but it always feels more fresh. And I really appreciate this franchise. I think I give a complete props to doing that, and having this franchise be such a different franchise from a lot of other ones, where you can stay consistent with your what it's about cars, but you give it more than that, because I feel like, for me personally, I don't care as much about watching cars and car porn like the first three were. I mean, but I still like them for what they were, but I feel like these ones, especially starting the fifth one, hit their stride because they were more than that. They were more interesting than just cars and just street racing. I thought it was way more interesting as it goes along. But starting out, I'll talk about the characters. I thought that the characters in this, the ones that continue from the last films, are so fun and so great again in this film. I love that even though Paul Walker's gone, you still have Dom, Vin Diesel, who is taken away by Cypher, who Charlize Theron plays brilliantly well. Like, she feels like a Bond villain in this, and that attributes well to being a spy espionage kind of film. But she's a hacker terrorist, who is using Dom to try to get more power. And I like that you don't see at first how she gets Dom. She just shows him a video or a picture of something, and then you realize as it goes along that Dom has a kid from Elena from Fast 5, who they make a kid, and then Letty comes back from amnesia and back from the dead. So I love how it complicates Dom's life, and I love how when you realize that Dom isn't really bad, and I didn't think he would go bad. I thought he would just... He had a reason to go with Cypher. He had a reason because of the baby, but I loved how it took and elaborated on realizing what happened. And I thought it was sad when Elena died, and I thought it was really, really interesting, just showing that he had a kid and having that being the reason why he's connected to Cypher and why she's taking him under her wing and making him do whatever she tells him to do. I thought that was really, really greatly done for this kind of franchise. I thought it was really cool, just elaborating on that, because I knew Dom wouldn't be a bad guy. I knew that he was just trying... He had a reason for it, but I loved how they built it up and explained the reasoning. And it made it a fun thriller with that fact. But Dom, I think, is great in this movie. I think that it really... He's always great in the other movies, but I thought that this one, it's not really as much his movie, and which is the exact opposite of Furious 7, which I felt was more of his movie than anybody else's. But this one feels more like the team's movie instead, which I think is fine, because I like how a franchise can do that, where you focus on one character in one film and then focus on other characters in the next one. So it's like it feels fresh, and it doesn't keep the characters from being the exactly about them each one. I think that it's great that they share their time in each franchise, so it doesn't feel like you have to watch one of them. You have to watch all of them to really get the full gist of these characters, even though some of these I think are pointless, like 2 through 4 I think are kind of pointless movies, but they're still fun to watch. But I think that it's great showing these characters from other views and showing different characters get more spotlight in some of the movies, and some do and some don't. But I liked how this one focused on the team more, because you got DSS member Luke Hobbs, who The Rock plays, and The Rock back in this movie again. It's just so great because he is such a joy, and he was such a joy in 5 and 6 and 7 too. And I love bringing him back, and I loved how he is just such a fun character. The way that he is such a badass character, and he can literally just rip off things, like rip off car doors or just break someone's hand. Like, I love how he's such a funny character that's a badass. And I love how whenever you start out in this movie and you see he's coaching his daughter's team, and it makes it look like at first like he's teaching like a group of, like the military, he's teaching a group of soldiers to do these duties, and then you realize it's just he's teaching his daughter's team. And it's really, really great, and it's really funny when he does the dance with them. And Dwayne Johnson, I always think, is really funny anyways, so I thought it worked well, and I thought the humor in this is really great, especially with The Rock. But I loved how he feels like it is more of the side characters, but it feels like he gets a lot of the spotlight in this movie, which is great, because he was kind of the side character in the other ones. So I'm, like I said, I'm glad that you can keep elaborating on a franchise and have different characters be different in different spots, and have some of the main characters be the main characters and some that were in the last movie be side characters, but still get enough character development. But Dwayne Johnson, I thought, was a great return. Just Hobbs, I think, is just such a joy in all the movies, and I think that in this one he's so great too. And I love that you get Statham back, Deckard Shaw. I love how, even though you have to suspend some disbelief, because Deckard Shaw did kill Han and basically killed Giselle too. So you've got this movie where Deckard has to join with Hobbs and the rest of the team. And I thought that it was really, even though, like I said, you could suspend your belief, I liked all their relationship with each other, because I loved with him and The Rock, I think, or with him and Hobbs, I think was great. Their banter between each other was hilarious. The way that they kept bad-mouthing each other was awesome. But I figured out that there was actually on-set arguments with both of these people, with Statham and Dwayne Johnson. So I don't know if that's truly them insulting each other, but even if it is, it was really funny humor. It was very funny how mean they were towards each other, and I wonder if that really is a fact to how they really did argue on set, which is unfortunate. But I mean, I don't know. It seemed like they were still having fun in the movie. But bringing back Statham as Deckard Shaw, I thought was great. I love seeing him back, as Statham, I think, is one of my favorite action stars. I think he's hilarious, and I think he does such a great job with action and humor. Like, look at Crank. I love that movie, Crank 1 and 2. I think those are hilarious, but they're such fun action movies. And I think Statham has such a charm to him that he can really show off this humor and action skills. But I think it's great seeing him back in this. I loved having them join together, because it had a new camaraderie between them because of all the stuff that Deckard Shaw has done to them, and how Hobbs is pissed off at him, and I love their arguments with each other, and with the team. I love how the team doesn't just instantly keep him there, but except they have to, because of Mr. Nobody, who Kurt Russell plays, and Little Nobody, Scott Eastwood plays, but how they have to bring the team together to stop Cypher. But I really did like how those two interacted between Hobbs and Deckard. I thought that was great. And I love that, even though he's barely in it, that Luke Evans came back as Owen Shaw. But he's barely in it, but it's funny that he is still alive, because, in 6, he fell out of a plane, and then in 7, you see him in the shot at the beginning where Statham has destroyed the hospital, and he's sitting there with Burns, Owen Shaw. And I thought it was funny that he's still alive in this one. But, of course, these movies are cheesy and over the top, but that's what makes them so fun. But I love seeing Luke Evans though too. I thought that was great having him back, even though he wasn't in it much. And I love the addition of Helen Mirren as the mother of the Shaws. I thought that that was really great. She's barely in the movie, but she is hilarious. I love the way that she has the banter towards Deckard and the way that she treats him. Like it's funny, and they've all got the Cockney accent where it's really funny how they just speak to each other. They speak to each other really funny, and their chemistry is really great with the. Even though I don't think Luke Evans and Helen Mirren had a scene together, but whenever Statham and Mirren have the scenes together, I think are great, and I think that it's just really funny, and it works because Helen Mirren I think is great at these kind of movies like Red. Like she's great as this assassin in that movie, and I think that she brought that kind of thing into this movie, just being this funny, over the top kind of character, and I think she's great in this movie, even though she's barely in it. But what scene she was in, she stole the show, I thought. And like I said with Deckard Shaw, I like how even though he was the villain and Owen Shaw was the villain in 7 and 6, you bring them back in this one, and yeah, they kind of get forgiven easily. But like I said, this is a movie where it's over the top with these kind of things. But I liked how Deckard Shaw at the end has to save Dom's baby. I thought that that was hilarious. I loved the scenes between them because the baby is genuinely funny because they picked a good baby who makes these funny reactions to everything. And Deckard puts on headphones on the baby's ears while he shoots and kills all these people on the plane while the baby's just listening to Alvin and the Chipmunks. And it's hilarious. And the way that the baby is in the situations where it's so dangerous he could get killed, but it's so funny when Deckard is saving him and killing all of these guys on the plane. I thought that was great, and I loved how he saved the baby at the end because the baby was really one of the reasons for all this happening, for Cypher gaining Dom and taking him because of that. But I thought that it was really genuinely hilarious whenever we had the scenes with Deckard Shaw fighting off all the like shooting all the guys up, and then having the baby in the baby seat just carrying him around while shooting everybody. I thought that was really genuinely hilarious. It really was awesome. But yeah, Statham was great in this movie, and Luke Evans was good even though he wasn't in it much. And then Helen Mirren wasn't in it much, but she stole the show in every scene she was in. And then we've got all the members from the other one, who it feels like this is more their movie and The Rock's movie than Dom's movie. It feels more like it's about them. And I like that because these characters are so fun and so entertaining. Because back again, you get Ramsey, who's good, and then you get Ludacris again as Tej, and then Tyrese as Roman. And I love both of their back and forths with each other because they always steal a show. In 5 through 7, they always stole the show with their humor. Especially in 7, whenever they're all flying out of the planes and cars, and Roman doesn't want to do it. So Tej just instantly throws his parachute off, so it sucks Roman out of the plane in 7. I thought that was a great scene with them. But I love how in this movie it's funny because they're both trying to get Ramsey. And it's so hilarious. And I love the ending where they have the conversation about that they both want Ramsey, and then Ramsey, who I think is funny because she just kind of doesn't put up with them. She's just like, okay, well, if you guys tell me my last name, then maybe we can talk about being with each other. And then they both looked at each other like, what's her name? And we, the audience, haven't heard her name either. So I wonder if that's going to be a plot point later in the franchise. Maybe she'll be a bad guy, I don't know. But I'm curious, or maybe she'll be related to somebody we don't know or have seen before, but I'm curious to if that will elaborate onto the franchise later, with her not mentioning her last name, but it just kind of felt like a nod to something that'll happen later. But like I said, I love these characters with Ramsey and Tej and Roman, and Tej and Roman's back and forth with each other is hilarious. And Michelle Rodriguez as Letty was good, but I felt like she wasn't as important in this one, which honestly, I don't feel like it's an insult because she is so important in the last couple, especially 4 and 6. She is really important. And I feel like that's not an insult because she is important in the other ones, so they're just sharing time with the other characters. So that's great why, even if some of the films are pointless, it's fun to watch these characters grow. And they don't have to be so important in certain movies, and some they are important in. Like this one, she's not as important in, but I think that she still did a great job. And Michelle Rodriguez is great, even though she didn't have as many scenes. But there are so many characters in this movie, and she's built up in the other one, so I thought it was fine. But she was fine in it. And then I just I also like that Kurt Russell is back. I think that he's great, and I love too that we have Scott Eastwood in this. And I thought that they used him kind of as a Brian replacement, which it didn't really make me mad. I was just like, okay, it's the white guy character is gonna be the Brian replacement, and I thought he was legitimately actually funny the way that he acted towards the team, because the team kind of just denied him and treated him bad the whole time, and I thought that was great. I thought that was really funny. And Kurt Russell was really funny too, just like the last one. And I liked how he kind of gets this team together and just messes with them. And I like how he messes with Luke Hobbs and Deckard Shaw, and how they're in prison and they both fight, and how they both escape. But then you realize when they run right out, the guns pointing towards them, and then Kurt Russell comes up and said, "Oh, I thought it would be quicker than that, or it's just right on time." Like he was using a joke, like, "Oh, you got out of the fight quickly," but I thought that he was great. I thought Kurt Russell's great in anything though. But Scott Eastwood, I haven't seen in many things. I think he was in Suicide Squad, and he was just barely in it. But I thought I bet he's been in other stuff, but I haven't seen him in many other things. But I thought in this one he was really funny. He was a funny, dorky character, and it's funny because he's the son of Clint Eastwood. But I like that they made him a dorky character in this, besides being not like his dad, in this movie at least. But the characters I thought are all great. And then Charlize Theron, I thought was a great villain. I thought she was really intimidating. I thought she was actually legitimately scary in some moments. And this is not the same kind of movie, but she reminded me of how she played in the Snow White and the Huntsman movies, where she is just evil and conniving. And in this one, she really is conniving as this cyber terrorist who does everything to Dom to keep him to try to get nuclear codes, because she gets him to attack a Russian sorry, she tries to get nuclear codes, and whenever she does, like, Dom outwits her and all this stuff, but she is scary in how she is trying to get all of this information, like nuclear codes, to get power from everybody, and nobody will be able to stop her because she doesn't have any way that anybody can connect to her, because every couple of seconds, they said in the movie that she takes away all of the connection towards her, so she's taken away from anywhere, so she's basically a ghost. She's hidden from everybody. I think that that's really scary. And I thought Charlize Theron is just intimidating as can be in this movie. And like I said, in the Snow White Huntsman movies, I thought she was intimidating too. She was pretty scary. She just got that scary look, and I like that. But I thought she was great in this movie, and she doesn't die in the end, so I'm curious to if she'll be the villain in the next one again. And I love too how they connect back to Cypher being related to Owen and Deckard Shaw, and the mom, Helen Mirren's character. So I really like that. Even though Owen Shaw and Deckard Shaw did kill Han and Giselle, they it doesn't completely feel warranted that they became friends with the team, who they killed their friends with their other friends from the team, but it works kind of in which that Cypher did connect back to them, so they're all against Cypher now. So they're all trying to get her because of all the stuff that's happened to the Shaws and it's happened to Dom's team. So I thought that was really well done, and I liked how, when you realize in the end what Dom did throughout the movie to one up Cypher, I thought that was great too. Like whenever he's looking into the back of the trunk, and then you realize that the guy with the moving van is the guy at the beginning of the movie who he raced, and then you realize that whenever Deckard Shaw is shot and he looks like he's dead, it's just fake because of the two guys from Fast Five who are there and act like they shot him. And then Then I like just the connection with that, and the connection with the baby being taken secretly without Cypher knowing. So I thought that it all was great. It really worked on such a fun level, and the action is so fun. And I love the set piece at the end, where you've got them with a submarine and on frozen ice, and I thought that was really cool. And even though it's cheesy and over the top, I thought it was so great, showing Dom about to get killed, and then all the members of the team got their cars together and shielded him. And I thought that was actually pretty nice. It was a nice way to save Dom at the end, because they knew Dom wasn't really rogue. He was just, he had a reason for it, and you figured it out throughout the movie. But it was so well done in such a fun way. It was so well done. But like I said, the action is great, and the characters are so fun, and it's such a fun addition to the franchise. It really works well with the tone this franchise already gives, with this over the top cheesiness. But the cheesiness feels like a James Bond film. This one especially, because this feels like an espionage spy kind of film, and it works really well. For me, I think it's such a fun time, and it really makes me want to see more of this franchise, and we're going to, because this apparently today just beat Star Wars: The Force Awakens as the highest opening ever. So this might be more than, like, make more money than Star Wars: The Force Awakens did. And The Force Awakens is the third highest grossing film ever. So if that means this is going to be one of the highest grossing films, we're going to get a lot of sequels for a long time, which I'm fine with, because every sequel since the fourth one has gotten way better, and I love them more than the first four. This really has brought my hopes up more, because it's just as good as 5 through 7, and it just really gives me so much more fun. It's such a fun, over the top time, and the characters are so fun and engaging and so funny, and I love how they keep changing genres with it, and it makes it so fresh, and it makes it always feel like it's something different, and it's a different time each movie. So it really works well. I thought it was such a fun time. But thanks guys for watching so much, and I'll talk to you next time.